If you guys have been struggling to get consistent wins in MultiVersus, or if you're just looking to get some tips to get a little bit better at MultiVersus, then this is the video for you, because I will be showing you a few tips right here on how to improve at MultiVersus so you can hopefully start winning more games. Now, after playing for like a week and a half here, I feel like I've been running into a lot of players where I see a lot of really good players, I see a lot of really bad players, and I'm kind of seeing a lot of like similar patterns between each of those. So I'm going to point out one of the bad habits that a lot of newer players are having, or people that really don't play fighting games in general, and I'll kind of explain what to be looking for if you're trying to improve. So hopefully by now you have a character in MultiVersus that you're really enjoying. Like, it's been like a week and a half, like I said, so hopefully by now you find some character that you can say, you know what, like this is kind of a fun character. So if you do have a character like that, I definitely recommend you keep grinding that character. However, I do think it is a good idea to just play all the characters in general. Now, obviously, you want to put the most time into the character that you're most comfortable with and that you want to improve with. And I say that like whether the character is good or not. I'm sure you've seen tier lists all around the internet. Maybe your character is like towards the bottom. That doesn't mean you shouldn't play them at all. I think whatever character makes you feel like you're learning the game the best is just the way to go in general. Now, obviously, at higher level, that's when tier lists really come into play and they really matter. But at lower level, or if you're kind of new to the game, you're just trying to play the game for fun, you can play whoever you want. But that being said, one piece of advice I have right off the bat is if you're struggling against a particular character, like let's say you're really bad against Superman, for example, I recommend you try playing that character. I think a lot of people like stray away from characters that they hate, right? Like for example, a lot of people say that Marvin is very annoying. Me personally, this is a character that I looked at and I was like, man, this character just looks so confusing. Like, how do you even play him? Then I decided, you know what, let me just try to play him, kind of see how it works. I watched a couple combo videos and things like that, and now I would say he's actually my main. I've been playing him a lot this past week. And even within just a week, I almost feel like my Marvin is better than Tom and Jerry, which was my main, you know, previously. So even if a character is kind of difficult, I do recommend just trying out all the characters, especially the ones that you lose to. That way you can really understand how they work and you kind of get a feel for them yourselves. Now, my next tip here is, of course, to utilize the training mode. I think, you know, a lot of people might get bored by this or they don't really see the point of it, but training mode is actually very helpful for a lot of different reasons. But I'm going to use it right here to show what I feel like a lot of players are really struggling with, especially since the beta of MultiVersus. Back in the beta, you were able to just dodge all day, and that's why the game felt very fast, because everyone would just spam dodge, fly around the map constantly, and you could just do whatever. But in this game, when you're dodging like this, you'll notice that my character is like sweating, and he is slower, and my dodge does not last as long. I don't know how many times I've gotten into a game and just immediately off the bat, before I can just stand there like Shaggy is right now, and the person I'm playing against is dodging everywhere, just throwing attacks out. It just feels like they're mashing. And that's honestly one reason why I think a lot of people feel like the game is so slow. I will not lie, they did slow the game down, so it is definitely slower. But I also don't think it helps when you're dodging all day, because then it definitely does feel even slower. I think the dodge meter is a really good tool here. You'll see it right under my player name, and as I dodge, the bar kind of goes down a little bit here. I think it's a really good thing that they implemented. And I also think that dodging is still good, you just have to be smart about it. You don't have to dodge at every single thing, and one thing that will help with that is kind of noticing what your opponent is doing. I think a lot of times in fighting games, you'll kind of focus on your own character, and you're just wanting to hit the other person as much as you can. But I think what's really important is kind of noticing what the other person is doing, because then you can just basically predict them. A lot of times if you're playing game after game, you will develop habits whether you realize it or not. So when you're in certain situations and you're trying to recover, for example, a lot of times, like if you're not really thinking, you're going to end up doing the exact same recovery. And if your opponent catches on that, then they're going to get you like with a prediction, and they could just basically take your stock like that. I'll kind of show you guys an example right here of what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to go for here is just a basic combo with Marvin. It's 2 hits of my forward attack, and then I can jump up and go for side special. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. 1, 2, side special. Very basic combo with Marvin, does about 11%. Now if I go for that, it almost looks like I can go for a second one like that, see? So let's go ahead and try to do that. 1, 2, side, side. But Shaggy dodges. You see how he dodged right there? 1, 2, go for it, and he dodges in. So now, I'm guessing, since he's done that twice already, he's probably going to do that again. So instead of just doing 11% here, in theory, we should be able to do a lot more. Now we're at 36%. You see how big of a difference that is? So that's what I mean. There's a lot of situations, especially up top, like a lot of players, especially newer players, they just keep dodging up here. And so a lot of times, if you notice that they keep dodging in the exact same spot, instead of like me, for example, especially with Marvin, right? A lot of times I'm looking to shoot up top here, right? And with Marvin, he's a character that you can actually hold it. So I can shoot immediately, or I can just kind of hold it for a second and then shoot. If the person I'm playing against keeps dodging in like this, instead of shooting right away, I should just hold it for like half a second longer and then it's gonna hit them every time. So if you notice that the person keeps dodging in and they keep having like the same exact habits, you can just punish them for that and you can get way more damage off of it, and sometimes just early kills in general. So I'm not saying don't dodge at all, I'm just saying be careful with it. There's other ways you can get around stuff, right? So like I can always dodge in, you know, to try to recover like this, or sometimes I can go for an up special and then I can go for side special. There's different ways to recover, and like I said, it kind of comes down to the character you play. You really have to give it a feel for the character, like I said, so definitely play them a lot. But just think about it, there's always different ways that you can recover, so try to figure out what's best for your specific character, and kind of like, you know, notice if you're doing the same thing over and over again, maybe mix it up. Like if every single time that you recover you're getting hit for it, just try to mix it up a little bit and change the way that you recover. It's just a great way to kind of mix it up and mix up your opponent in general. But yeah, I basically recommend using training mode to kind of practice your combos, practice different strategies, practice playing against somebody here that likes to spam dodge, and figure out how you can punish them to get more damage off. Make sure that you're not spamming dodge, because it is a good tool, but you shouldn't be going for it all the time or else you're going to be sweating like this. Mix up your recoveries, don't recover the exact same way every single time. That could be very predictable. It could be a big reason why you keep dying so much. And if you're struggling against a certain character, try to play them for yourselves and kind of see how the character works. And then there's also perks, which are obviously very important. And if you don't know what perks to pick for your character, again, I recommend you look up a video. I'm sure there's resources out there, but a lot of times you are going to want to pick one of the main perks besides the 5%. That's usually not the best one. For some characters it might be, but a lot of them it's not. And in general, the perks that I have right here are pretty good against, like, for a lot of characters. So snowball effect is kind of nice. You're always getting that 7% damage boost, which can be good in a lot of situations. This Airwalker perk I think is useful for certain characters, but not all characters. So one character, for example, Arya, you know, very good on her. And then there's a character like Marvin where it's probably not as good. So instead I run the too fast to block perk. This is another pretty good one. Go for dash attack, you break armor. A lot of characters have armor in this game, so overall it's, you know, it's pretty useful. And then I also run this perk as well for Marvin, for example. So I do have a lot of melee attacks, so very useful for me, but maybe a character like Tom and Jerry, not as useful. And so then you'll look into these other perks and kind of figure out what works best for you. So I'm gonna jump into a game real quick and we'll see if I'm able to play against somebody that dodges a lot, so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about here. All right, we were talking about Superman earlier, so let's see how we fare up against a 900 win Superman. All right, let's go. Oh, he parried me. Look at that.
1 minute later.
He tried to parry me there, see? Because he did it earlier too. So he knows my basic Marvin combos. Like I said, that's where it kind of comes into play, like kind of learning what the other characters can do. Because you'll kind of learn what combos other characters have, so be very useful. That kills me? That's crazy. I gotta be careful now. That was actually kind of nice. That bubble added that little chip damage right there. We'll take it, we'll take it. See, he keeps going for parry now. Because I've noticed that. Like, the whole first game, he kept trying to parry me. Because he got me a couple times with it. Especially at first. Definitely parried me. Surprised I didn't kill. Got him. He dodged in right there. That's what I'm saying. Look at that. I'm telling you guys. Like I'm saying. What did he do when he got scared? He dodged in. And what was I doing? I was waiting for him right there. But yeah, you guys, that's just a few tips on how to improve at MultiVersus. Let me know if that's helpful at all. Trust me, I know I do it all the time in Smash. A lot of times I will just mindlessly play without thinking about what I'm doing, and a lot of times that can just end up hurting you. So sometimes it's important to put a little bit more thought into it and kind of think about what your opponent is doing, and then that way you know exactly what they're going to do next, and you can just go ahead and punish them for it every single time. If you did find this video helpful, I just ask that you subscribe to the channel, help me get to 10,000 subscribers, and be on the lookout for some more MultiVersus videos and guides and gameplay coming up soon. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you all in the next one.